Aybowan, Wanakkam, Assalamu alaikum. We gather on this sacred land of the Ghana people. As custodians of this land, we pay respect to them, their wisdom, their culture, and their unique role to the life of this country. Venerable Sir, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all for the celebration of the 73rd Independence Day of Sri Lanka. And not only all of you who are gathered here in this venue today, I also like to welcome everyone all around the world who have joined with us to celebrate this special occasion. As we all know, we had been faced with a lot of challenges in the last year. Whilst there had been a lot of negative impact from COVID, I think it also has given us the ability to think outside the square and also to challenge ourselves and look at other ways of doing things. So here we are today for the very first time. We are celebrating the 73rd Independence Day of Sri Lanka through Zoom and Facebook. So once again, I'd like to welcome you all. First of all, we are going to have the religious observances and messages. මේ අවස්ථාවේදී අපි ප්‍රථමයෙන්ම මා නමස්කාර පූර්වකව ඉතාමත් ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා Adelaide ශ්‍රී ලංකා බෞද්ධ විහාරයේ විහාරාධිපති ගරු පූජ්‍යපාද උඩුගබ්බල සුමේද ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට පැමිණ සිටින සියලු දෙනාම පංචශීලයේ පිහිටවන ලෙස අවසරයි ස්වාමීනි.
කවුරු සාදුකාරය දෙන්නේ නමස්කාරය තුමු පන්ති සමාදන් වීම සඳහා නමෝ තස්සේ භගවතු වරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්සේ නමෝ තස්සේ භගවතු වරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්සේ නමෝ තස්සේ භගවතු වරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්සේ Buddham saranam gacchami Dhammam saranam gacchami Sangham saranam gacchami Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami Saranagamanam sampunnam Panasipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami Anetu miccācara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami Mutavada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami Sulameraya madhya pamadatthana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami Isaranena saddhim panchaseelam dhamman sadhukam surakhitam katva apamadena sampade tabbam
Now we have a special blessing from Ashok Sharma from the Hindu Ganesh temple.
ओम श्री गणेशाय नमो नमः। ओम गणपति नमो नमः। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः। गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमो नमः। ओम गजानन पद्मार्कं गजानन महर्षिं अनेकदंत भक्तानां एकदंतम् उपास्महे। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमो नमः। ओम समस्तोपचारां समर्पयामि। श्री वक्षस्यमायुष्यमारोग्यं नाभिराज स्वपहानं महीयते। धान्यं धनं वसं भगवत्प्रलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः सकल सौभाग्य सिद्ध्यर्थम् इष्टदेवताय कुलदेवताय कृपाकटाक्ष सिद्ध्यर्थं सकल सौभाग्य सिद्ध्यर्थं समस्तोपचारां समर्पयामि। शिवा दीर्घायुष्मान् भवते। ओम श्री महागणाधिपतये नमो नमः। Thank you so much. All the best.
Now we have a message from Father Reginald Jamaha.
Sri Lanka ජාතික නිදහස් දිනය සමරන පෙබරවාරි 4 වෙනි දින ලක්වාසී අප සැමට අභිමානවත් දිනය. අප ලැබුවා නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් දෙවිඳුන්ට තුති පුදන අපි වර්තමානයේ අප සෑම අත්දැකීමක්ම දෙවිඳුන්ට පුද කර සිටිමු. අප ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ ජේසුස් ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අප වෙත ගෙන සුබ වදනින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන හා නිදහසෙන් අප ජීවිත පුරවා ගනිමු. චුදු ලූක් සුවිශේෂයේ 4 වන පරිච්ඡේදයේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අපට මෙසේ පවසනවා. ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේගේ ආත්මය මා කෙරෙහි ඇත. මක්තිසාද දිනදුන් හත සුභාරංචිය දේශනා කරන වාස් උන්වහන්සේ මා ආලේප කළසේක. වාහනට මිදීමද අන්ධයන්ට පෙනීමද ලැබෙන බව දන්වන්නට පීඩිතුවන් මුදන්නට ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේගේ වරප්‍රසාදය ලත් වසර ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නට උන්වහන්සේ මා එබව වදාළසේක. අද ඔබ සවන් දී සිටියදීම මේ ශුද්ධ නිවැරදි පාඨය ඉෂ්ට වී යයි ජේසුස් ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ වදාළසේක. ජේසුස් ස්වාමීන් අද දවසේ ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය දේශයක් හා ජනතාවක් හැටියට අප මුහුණ දෙන සෑම යථාර්ථයක් හමුවේම ඔබ වහන්සේ අප වෙත ගෙනෙන නිදහස, ආලෝකය, සැනසීම හා බලාපොරොත්තුව අප තුළ වර්ධනය කරමැනද. විශේෂයෙන් ලෝපුරා පැතිරියන් COVID-19 වසංගතය හමුවේ නිදහස අහිමිව මානසික, ආර්ථික, සමාජමය වශයෙන් පීඩාවට පත්වී ඇති ජනතාවට ඔබ වහන්සේගේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික හා ශාරීරික සුවය, සැනසීම හා මිදීම දානය කළ මැනව. ඔබ වහන්සේගෙන්ම ලැබෙන වරප්‍රසාදයන්ගෙන් පූර්ණව අභ්‍යන්තර ප්‍රීතියෙන් සාමයෙන් නිදහසින් යුතුව අධෛර්ය නොවී සෞඛ්‍ය නීති රීති අනුව හරි දේ කරමින් පොදු යහපත උදා කර ගැනීමට අප දේශීය ජනතාව මෙහෙයවු මැනව. අප දේශය පාලනය කරන නායකයින් හට තම වගකීම් යුතුකම් ඉටු කිරීමේදී ඔවුන් ලබා ඇති බලය හා නිදහස නිසි ලෙස භාවිත කරමින් අප දේශය හා ජනතාව සැබෑ නිදහස් නිවහල් පැවැත්මක් කරා මෙහෙවීමට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රඥාව හා ධෛර්යය දානය කළ මැනව. මෙදින අප යදුම් හා ප්‍රාර්ථනාවන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා අප ස්වාමිදුව වන දිව් මවුන්ගේ මධ්‍යස්ථය තුළ අප ස්වාමීන් වන ජේසුස් ක්‍රිස්තුස් වහන්සේ තුළින්ම අපට ලැබේවා. ආමීන්. ස්තුතියි.
Next, we have a message from the Sri Lankan Muslim community in South Australia.
In order As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, are working hard we pray for the pandemic to be over soon and for the safety of the people of Sri Lanka. Happy Independence Day!
Next, we have the lighting of the traditional oil lamp. To light the lamp, first of all, I like to very respectfully invite Venerable Udugabbala Sumedha Thero, Dr. Sarath Attanayaka, Mr. Ilham Jaffer, Mr. Vivian Noah, and Dr. Charita Pereira. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please ask you to rise now for the playing of the Sri Lankan and the Australian national anthems.
Sri Lanka Mata, Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata. Sri Hari, Surani Ati Sumamaya. Australians all let us rejoice that we are one and free. With golden soil and 12 untold, our hope is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage and God's Australia bear. In joyful strains that let us sing, and God's Australia bear.
Thank you. You may sit now. Now I'd like to invite the Honorary Consul for Sri Lanka in South Australia, Dr. Charita Pereira, to give you the welcome speech.
Venerable Udukabala Sumedha, Chief Monk of the Adelaide Sri Lanka Buddhist Vihara, invited guests, and many guests who are joining us today online via Zoom and Facebook. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all as we celebrate the 73rd Independence Day celebrations of Sri Lanka. We are conducting today's event via the internet from the Sri Lanka Cultural Hub in Crayford in Adelaide due to the current COVID restrictions. This event is organized by many volunteers. So if there are any slight technical difficulties, I would apologize on behalf of them. Today, Sri Lanka is celebrating the independence gained on the 4th of February, 1948 from the colonial rulers, and we celebrate that with great pride. We respectfully acknowledge the many heroes who fought for the freedom, independence, and the sovereignty of the country. On this occasion, I also would sincerely thank Honorable Vincent Tarsier, the Minister for Police and the member for Hartley, the Honorable Jing Lee, Assistant Minister for Premier, and Jane Stinson, MP, the Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs, for sending their personal messages, which you will listen to soon. The last 12 months have been a challenging year, to say the least. When the pandemic was declared in March, many of the Sri Lankan community associations in Adelaide, together with the generous donors, established a food bank right here in the cultural hub in Crayford. And these contributions helped us to support more than 200 students and recent migrants during the difficult times. And these supports are still continuing, organized by several community organizations and individuals. I would take this opportunity to thank the South Australian government for supporting the multicultural communities in South Australia. A special thank goes to Honorable Jing Lee for assisting in many projects run by the Sri Lankan Community Associations in Adelaide, and also a special mention for supporting in purchasing these video conference facilities here in the Cultural Hub. In conclusion, I thank you all for joining us here today as we celebrate the Independence Day, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Charita. Next, I'd like to read the Independence Day messages from His Excellency the President, the Prime Minister, and the External Affairs Minister of Sri Lanka. First of all, the message from His Excellency the President, which is an excerpt from the Vistas of Prosperity and Splendors, page number 1. The other important task will be to create a progressive national economy and a pluralistic society. We have to create an environment that provides our youth and local entrepreneurs with new opportunities, gives everyone new hope and a sense of pride, where people can use their skills, talents, and business acumen to be the world leaders in any field of their choice. It is only by empowering our people that we can strengthen and expand the national economy. Our responsibility is to create an enabling environment for a citizen to be prosperous and content, leading to a happy family and a law-abiding society in Sri Lanka. All over the world, environmental degradation has brought about havoc, and parts of our country have experienced severe drought and floods simultaneously. It is therefore our responsibility to make our country an example of sustainable development. At a time when nobody in the world thought it would be possible to bring peace to this country, we brought peace. Similarly, we will make Sri Lanka prosperous and beautiful. I have great faith in our collective ability to do so. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, His Excellency the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Independence Day message. It is with immense pride that we celebrate our 73rd Independence Day today. It is an opportunity to remind ourselves of the unflattering spirit and the commitment of our people in the fight for freedom. Sri Lankans have stood in the test of time, fighting many a battle gallantly in the long struggle to gain political, religious, and cultural independence. Today, we are at a point in our journey where we must work collectively to ensure that the freedom we won not once but twice is a meaningful one for all Sri Lankans. Despite the many challenges we faced as a nation last year, we have embarked on a journey and adopted policies that focus on the growth of the economy by giving preferences to local produced items. The Vistas of Prosperity manifesto has carefully studied and identified areas in each sector that need reform to better serve Sri Lankans, not limiting working towards a better tomorrow to achieve a prosperous Sri Lanka to mere words, but a reality that is tangible and meaningful to all. The biggest challenge the world faces today is the COVID-19 global pandemic. As we work collectively today towards our shared quest to overcome these perilous times, I believe that the unflattering Sri Lankan spirit will unite and stand strong in defeating this pandemic and emerging victorious. In celebrating our independence, we remember all those who have paid with life and limb to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our nation time and time again. We also take a moment today to remember those men and women who are the frontline soldiers battling this current pandemic we are facing, giving selflessly of their skills and time to protect Sri Lanka and her people. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all Sri Lankans for their contribution towards the success of our motherland. Happy 73rd Independence Day. Mahinda Rajapaksa, Honorable Prime Minister, Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Let us be committed to overcome challenges. It is a pleasure for me to be able to congratulate all in Sri Lanka and the Sri Lankans around the world on the occasion of the 73rd anniversary of gaining independence to Sri Lanka. We celebrate with pride the activities of our past national heroes and war heroes for the freedom, independence, and sovereignty of the country as a great and proud nation in the world, and as a nation against the social, economic, and political oppression due to the colonization of the country for 450 years by the Western foreign invasions. We recall with reverence this commitment and determination to liberate our motherland by working unitedly as Sri Lankans without any discrimination in liberating Sri Lanka from the Portuguese, Dutch, and English. Today marks the 73rd anniversary of the independence gained on the 4th of February 1948, which we commemorate with great pride. The independence we gained on the 4th of February 1948 and the declaration of Sri Lanka as a republic on the 22nd May 1972 have enabled us to be completely free from the British rule. We and the whole world are facing an unpredicted global pandemic today. We can overcome the COVID-19 pandemic that is plaguing the world as well. It is the responsibility of all of us to support the government's program to defeat this pandemic, which is based on the world's advanced technology and the local traditional experience. With the independence we have gained, we will continue to advance as an independent, sovereign, democratic, and a unitary state, maintaining Sri Lanka's dignity, pride, and identity, while maintaining friendly cooperation with all states, prioritizing the neutral and non-aligned foreign policy. Honorable Dinesh Gunawardena, Foreign Minister, Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, now we like to bring a message from Honorable Vincent Tasia, Member for Hartley, Minister for Police, Emergency Services and Correctional Services.
Hey everyone, thank you for inviting me to address you today and celebrate the incredible culture of Sri Lanka and of course the 73rd Sri Lankan Independence Day. Sri Lanka's history is long, it's an ancient culture that can be credited with many achievements and a deep spirituality. While independence from the British brought with it challenges for the people and the culture of what was formerly the British colony of Ceylon, the Sri Lankan community and the democratic and representative government rose to meet those challenges admirably, forging as they did the Sri Lanka of today. Sri Lankans are an incredibly resilient people who have proven time and time again that adversity and challenges will not defeat them. I'm honoured to be invited to speak with you today and celebrate Sri Lankan Independence Day with you all. Australia is richer for the experiences, history and culture that your community brings to us. Happy Independence Day.
We thank Honorable Vincent Tasia for sending that message and being with us, like, in this special occasion. And I think he's a very close friend of the community. So we really appreciate him, taking the time to share a message with us. Next, we like to bring you a message from Honorable Jing Lee, MLC, Assistant Minister to the Premier.
Hi everybody, on behalf of the Premier of South Australia, Honourable Stephen Marshall and the Government of South Australia, I'm here to wish the Sri Lankan community in South Australia and around the world a very happy 73rd Independence Day of Sri Lanka. In South Australia, usually we'll come together to celebrate this major significant event. However, due to COVID, the Honorary Consul of Sri Lanka, Dr. Pereira, has organised this virtual event. Thank you so much for the work that you do. And in addition, on behalf of the government, can I extend a big thank you to the vibrant Sri Lankan community for your contributions to enrich South Australia. And during COVID pandemic, when everyone is in hibernation, you are working hard as health and frontline professionals serving our community. I understand the Sri Lankan community has also donated many food parcels, dry rations to the most vulnerable. A time like this is when we reflect on our identity and who we are as a society and serving the humanity. A very happy Independence Day to all of you. I hope you celebrate in your own way in a COVID-safe fashion. Thank you and have a really wonderful celebration.
Thank you to Honorable Jing Lee. And also at this point, I'd like to acknowledge Honorable Jing Lee for all her ongoing support to the Sri Lankan community in many ways possible, as our Honorary Consul reiterated, in his message. Next, I'd like to introduce a message from Ms. Jane Stinson, MP, member for BADCO, Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs.
Hello, I'm Jane Stinson, Labor's Multicultural Affairs Shadow Minister. It's lovely to be joining you this evening, even though we can't be face to face. I'm coming to you from here in my kitchen in Forestville. Thank you so much for asking me to make a few remarks and have a bit of a chat on the illustrious occasion of the 73rd anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. I am super lucky in that I've been to Sri Lanka a few times. In my past life, I was a broadcast journalist, and for a time I was stationed in India, and I used to take my holidays in Sri Lanka. I have such fond memories of Sri Lanka. Chiefly, I went there because I absolutely love elephants, like this little fella here who sits on my harp. But what I found was so much more. The people are absolutely brilliant, as you already know. The environment is incredible. The cuisine is absolutely delicious. And I always loved walking through the markets and buying some of the incredible handicrafts and goods that are made in Sri Lanka. When I was in Sri Lanka one time, I bought a beautiful handmade leather footrest. And every night when I come home and I finally get to put my feet up, I put them on this leather footrest, which I love. It has endured many things and many decor changes in my home, but it always reminds me, every time I put my feet on it, of the beautiful experiences that I had in Sri Lanka and the beautiful people there. I can absolutely see what those independence fighters were fighting for 73 years ago. They were fighting for a beautiful nation, a free nation, an independent nation, and the nation that Sri Lanka has become today. Indeed, the Sri Lanka that I know wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those fighting for its independence all those decades ago. I'd also like to pay tribute to those people who are fighting for your culture these days. Those of you who've moved to South Australia and made new lives, but are committed to keeping up the traditions of Sri Lanka, of passing down your culture to your children and your children's children. It's absolutely worth doing, and I encourage you in all of your efforts to both preserve but also promote Sri Lankan culture so that more of us here in South Australia are aware of the contribution that Sri Lanka makes to the world. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And just in closing, I'd like to thank Dr. Charitra Pereira, the Honorary Consul, for organising this event. You've done a fantastic job, and I'm sure we're all going to have a brilliant night. If there's anything I can help you out with in future, please just let me know. You will find a friend in me and a great admirer of Sri Lanka and its culture. Thank you so much.
Now I'd like to invite Mr. Nasli Farouk to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Nayan. Ayubowan, Wanakkam, Assalamu alaikum. As our previous speakers mentioned, this year's Independence Day truly is different. We used to have a very vibrant, big crowd, but unfortunately, we have to limit it. But the good thing is that everyone is here in spirit. So I wish to start my vote of thanks this evening by firstly thanking Venerable Sumedha Thera Ashok Sharma from the Ganesha Temple and Father Reginald Jayama for presenting the religious observances today. I also wish to thank the children of the Sri Lankan Muslim community for their very thoughtful message. Our thanks also to the leaders of the various religious communities who came up here to light the traditional oil lamp and show the unity with which we live here as in South Australia. A big thanks to all of you. A special thanks goes to Honorable Vincent Tazia, Member for Hartley and the Minister for Police, Emergency Services and Correctional Services for that thoughtful message of his. And I reiterate what the other speakers said, that he is a very special friend of the Sri Lankan community and goes a long way to support us. And thanks again to Honorable Jing Lee, MLC and Assistant Minister to the Premier, Ms. Jane Stinson, Member for Badco, Shadow Minister for Planning, Local Government, Multicultural Affairs and Arts for her very encouraging speech that she gave us. A very special thanks to this young man over here, Kavindu Ilangakon, for arranging and supporting us with the technical side of things, which is a challenge for us as volunteers who come and help. And a very special thanks to also all the volunteers who have worked very hard over the last couple of weeks in bringing up this event together, which is a first time for us. So big thanks to the organizing committee. Last but not least, each and every one of you have come via Zoom and Facebook from your living rooms to join us here at the Sri Lankan Buddhist Vihara in Crafers to celebrate our Independence Day. A big thank you to everyone. As we know, this is very special as we have people who are living in Adelaide who are on Zoom and Facebook, and like that we also have people from far off from Adelaide. Then we have people from interstate who are zooming in from Sri Lanka, and also I hear from other parts of the world. So it's indeed a very special occasion that we are able to meet in one place via the internet. So a big thank you to all of you. And finally, I would like to say Bohoma Stuti, Romba Nandi, and thank you very much for attending this evening's event. Wish you all a happy Independence Day. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
So that brings us to the conclusion of the celebration of the 73rd Independence Day of Sri Lanka. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us from near and far. And we hope that the 74th Independence Day celebrations will be able to be celebrated in style as usual, with many of us being in the same place together. With that note, we say thank you and goodbye, and have a good evening. Thank you.
In a cold part of the world, in a bold part of the world, in a huge part of the world, in a small part of the world, in a sad part of the world, in a happy part of the world, in a sandy part of the world, in a grassy part of the world, in a busy part of the world, in a sick part of the world, in a concrete part of the world, in a wild part of the world, and even in an imaginary part of the world. In every part of the world, one special cup from one special part of the world called Sri Lanka keeps us warm and well. One world, one tea. Ceylon tea, the world's favorite tea.
As we all move forward, don't forget to get plenty of sunshine. Drink lots of water. Remember to really breathe. Stretch. Spend time with people you love. Find your habits. Focus on the important things. Rest. Eat healthy. Laugh a lot. Look it all in. Remember who we are. So strong, so resilient, so true.
Coffee industry destroyed.